right, what is up, guys? It's Bart Johnson here, and it is Saturday, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, which means it is live stream time. So here we are, and we have got a topic today that I want to dive into really quickly. Mainly because ever since I posted that this stream was going to happen, I had a ton of people reaching out to me in advance on Discord, on social media, all of that, asking for a sneak preview or, you know, how to fix, because everybody seems to be having this problem. And the problem we're talking about is if you are one of the brave, or foolishly brave, I guess, which I am. One of, and upgraded right away to macOS 11 Big Sur, you may have run into the issue that, well, actually, you most definitely have run into the issue that OBS and Streamlabs OBS are not launching. Or if you do get them to launch, then you're running into a bunch of issues. So I was running into this issue, managed to discover a fix. It is not a fix for everything, but it is a launch fix, and then we'll dive into some of the other stuff as well. But anyway, a lot of people seem to be having this problem. It's to be expected when you're, you know, not waiting when there's a new OS, not waiting for all the app developers to get their new software out. So I'm sure there will be an actual fix, an actual software fix coming from both OBS and Streamlabs OBS. But as of right now, the fix that I found on a Reddit thread. I do have it linked down below, but we're going to walk through it here and do it live and show you how to do this. Now, I do want the disclaimer out there that I did not come up with this. I simply did some searching, found some stuff, tried it out, and this is what worked for me. I also want to say that I am not a programmer, so why this works, I couldn't tell you the nitty-gritty, but I'm going to guide you through how I did it. And the last one is that, pardon me, get my water. The last one is that this is not a true 100% forever fix. Obviously, OBS and Streamlabs OBS are not currently supported according to the developers on Big Sur. And so eventually they will have, I'm sure, an update coming out where it will be officially supported. So this is a fix for right now to get things up and running. May still have some quirks. I've had some people getting in touch with me who have been able to use this, but still had some quirks with other things, and we're going to explore those a little bit today. But anyway, guys, if you are here live watching, of course, the beauty of this is that it is a live show, so we have our live chat that we can pop up on the screen here as we go along, so you guys can ask me any questions along the way. So please feel free to pop into that chat and join in the conversation as we go through and try and get you guys back up and streaming if you use OBS or Streamlabs OBS and you are running macOS 11 Big Sur, which I am right now. I'm running Streamlabs OBS. We are on macOS 11 Big Sur, and as far as I can tell from my end, it's working. So there we go. But one last little fun live stream thing that we always do that I do want to get in here before we dive into the content. So I know anybody watching the replay is probably like, get on with it already. We will. But I do like to do a weekly poll. And so I was thinking of what we could do during the live show that would be sort of relevant for the poll this week. And I'm going to copy and paste that link into the chat right now. For anybody who may be here live, please feel free to go to that link right there and participate in our weekly poll. And this week's poll has to do with operating systems. So I want to know, what computer operating system do you use? And then I've got a little options on top of that, you know, macOS and you love it, macOS and you hate it. Same two options for Windows. And then the last one, since I know there's Linux and all sorts of other stuff out there, we'll just lump them into something cool you probably haven't even heard of. So if you're here live, please go ahead and pop in here and vote. We like to take a look at the results at the end of the stream. And if you are watching the replay, I do leave these live. So feel free to go ahead and pop in there. The link is in the description down below. So if you're watching the replay, you can join in the poll as well. We got a couple people popping in into the chat. ER19N says, how long will it take to fix the problem? It should only take a couple of minutes, just a couple of files to be removed. Once we get started, I can tell people are anxious for me to get to this fix so they can get in on it. Pierre saying, thanks for having this live. I'm running into extreme slowest issues. Not sure what you mean by slowest issues, but we're going to take a look at what we've got going on here. Like I said, this won't be a be-all, end-all fix for everything. I know there are still some quirks, but I want to show you the biggest one is with launching the software itself. So right now I'm on Streamlabs OBS, so I'm going to be able to sort of guide you through how to do this for Streamlabs. But first I'm going to show you for basic OBS. Now the idea is that if you are on Big Sur and you're launching OBS or Streamlabs OBS, they won't launch. There is a fix for that I'm going to go through right now. So let me get this out of the way here. So like I said, it has to do with file deletion. You were the first man alive who read my nickname correct. Awesome. I will take that badge and wear it with honor. I'm glad I got that in there. But let's go ahead in here. So what it turns out is there's some issues with if you have pre-existing scene files, collections of scenes in OBS. The biggest problem is if you have anything that has browser sources in it. So you can go in and add different things to your scenes, and one of the options is browser source. Apparently right now, because of updates that have happened to both macOS and to Safari, browser source items or browser sources within an OBS entire scene or project are going to cause it to crash. So if you have those in there, you're going to run into a problem. So that is the primary culprit that I'm seeing right now for crashes. And okay, so we've got a lot of people in here saying, I have launch problems on Livestream Studio, also on Big Sur. Livestream Studio. So if it's different than OBS and Streamlabs OBS, I don't know about that, but I can do Streamlabs OBS and OBS here. But yeah, so browser sources, and unfortunately a lot of people use browser sources in their scenes so that you can pull in assets like overlays from something like Streamlabs or whatever if you're using regular OBS or anything else. If you're using a browser source, for the time being, you're going to have to eliminate those. Until there is an official software update from both OBS and Streamlabs OBS, you cannot use browser sources in your scenes. They will literally cause the system or the program to crash. It's not they just won't work, they will crash. So you may be stuck here and thinking, okay, well, I have them in there, but I can't get into my OBS to change my scenes and remove those browser sources and start over again. How do I do that? Okay, so here's where we're going to get into the actual nitty-gritty back stuff. So I do want to say up front, again, disclaimer, make sure you back stuff up and make copies before you do this. I'm not responsible if something goes wrong, because we are going to be digging around in some system files here. It's not overly complicated. It's okay. But I just don't want you guys to lose anything and get mad at me. So let's go over to our second screen here. And this is what we're going to do, guys. We're going to go to Go. All right. And here you can see all the places that you can go. But there's a trick on macOS. If you hold the Option key, suddenly this hidden folder, Library, shows up. So if I let go of Option, it goes away. If you hold Option, Library shows up. You want to click on that library. So click on that, and it'll bring up our file path here. Now, as you can see, this is a hidden library folder that is under your username. So there's library here that you can always get to. This is not the one that you want. It is the hidden one that is under, your hard drive, then users, then your username, and then it's hidden here, library. All right, then we're going to come into here. Let me move this window a little bit so my face isn't covering it so much. And the folder we want is application support. So we're going to go into application support. And here you can see you've got sort of behind the scenes files for all of the software and programs that you have on your computer, as well as, some of the just Apple operating stuff as well. what we're looking for, first we're going to do standard OBS. So we're going to go down here, and here we go. We have a folder here for OBS Studio. And we're going to go into OBS Studio. And underneath this, we're going to go into, I believe it's Basic. Yep. So we're in Basic, and then we're going to go to Scenes. And as you can see in here, there's some files. These are my saved sort of layouts for my OBS Studio. You may have more, you may have less. So if you haven't upgraded to Big Sur yet, I highly suggest that you go into OBS and you save your scenes, you save your profiles, all that stuff, and save them to somewhere. I like to save them to Dropbox. I keep a folder full of them there so that I can always access them. Say I'm on somebody else's machine and I need to do a stream or something like that, I can pull them down from the Dropbox cloud and install my profiles very quickly. But I always recommend you do that. If you've gone to Big Sur, obviously you can't make any changes right now, but what I would recommend is any files that you have in here, copy them and paste them to somewhere safe and hang on to them. Because even if you do have browser sources in those and you can't open right now, when browser sources do become supported, you know, you may have done a lot of work building your scenes and your profiles. You're going to want to save that stuff. So make sure that you copy both files and save them somewhere safe for the future so that you can possibly re-import them when everything is supported. So I hope that makes sense. Please back up, save. Especially if you put a ton of work into building something, because with OBS, unfortunately, what we're going to have to do is delete these. So we're going to have to delete these files, and then OBS will boot. So you're see what I'm saying? You're gonna be starting from scratch basically in OBS. Now it's a little bit different in Streamlabs OBS, and we'll get to that. But for OBS, unfortunately, we're gonna take these files and we are going to get rid of them. Okay, they are now gone. All right, so we have an empty scene file there, and let me reduce this. And then what we're gonna do, we're gonna go over to our other screen here. Let me pull this up. Okay, let me get my myself up here on the screen so we can share. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead over here, and before it was not launching, and so what we'll do, we've got OBS. We'll click. This is the moment of truth, and there we go. Ooh, my audio is clipping on my mic input there on OBS. But there you can see OBS is running. This is the latest version of OBS that is available. It is 26.0.2. But as you can see, it is completely empty. Unfortunately, if you have browser sources in there, you're going to have to rebuild from scratch. But one of the interesting things that you can see here is, all right, so it's starting from scratch, but at least it's running, and you'll be able to build whatever you need without, as long as you don't use browser sources at this time. And if we go over to the second screen, what you can see is that OBS is already starting to auto-populate this folder again with your scenes. Because you've started over, you've got a new scene being built. Now, what we're going to try in a little bit, I'm going to go through the Streamlabs OBS routine next. But what I haven't tried yet, and I want to try live with you guys, is I want to try to import my saved scene files. So I had all these scenes built, and I did this process, removed them from this folder, and I have them saved somewhere. And then OBS reloaded or booted and was running fine. But what I haven't tried yet is importing those scene files back into OBS and seeing if it works or if it crashes it. I don't believe I had any browser sources. I think if you have any browser sources, it's going to crash it no matter what. So you're going to have to sort of rebuild. But I don't think I had any browser sources in my OBS scenes, and so I might be able to import those files that I saved somewhere else, and magically have everything back and ready to go if OBS were my primary streaming software. Let's see here. Anybody else in the chat? Looks like most people are just chatting. Yep, a lot of people just confirming that they are having the same issues. So if you're on OBS, this should get it to launch for you and run. Now, I have not deeply explored OBS after doing this. The only thing I know for sure is that adding browser sources at this time in Big Sur is going to crash OBS and will cause it, again, not to open, and you'll have to do this file delete again. I haven't seen, I've heard some reports of some other quirks, but I haven't been able to verify those. I mean, obviously the people who are having those problems are having those problems. But, you know, I've heard some things that there was some wonky stuff going on with adding text and stuff like that. I haven't tried that yet. So you may still run into some quirks because, as I said, OBS at this time is officially not supported on Big Sur, but this gets it running. So there we go. Let's get to our main screen here. Nope, that's me. So there you can see that I am successfully, I'm not joking, I'm successfully running Streamlabs OBS here. This wasn't the screen I intended to switch to, but I am successfully streaming and running on Streamlabs OBS. I do not use any browser sources, so that is why it is working. But I originally had the exact same issue. It would not boot. It would not load or launch in Big Sur, and I was able to fix that. So for you Streamlabs OBS guys, we're going to go ahead and we're going to get that fixed right now as well. So what we're going to do, I'm going to run through this whole thing from the start again if you are Streamlabs OBS. So similar process, different file folders, okay? So we're going to do that again. In Finder, we are going to go to Go. We're going to hold Option. We're going to go to Library. This hidden folder Library appears when you hold Option. Click there. Again, just to reiterate, it is not this visible library folder. It is under Users, your username, and then it will be this hidden folder. So the fastest way to get to that is by doing that Go and hold Option. Again, we're going to go into Application Support. And we're going to go all the way down to the S's. And here we have, I've always loved the nickname for Streamlabs OBS, Slobs. So we have Slobs Client. So we're going to click on that. And down here, you're going to see a folder called Scene Collections. So it is the same kind of idea as doing that for OBS. What you're going to do is you're going to take these scene collection files and you're going to delete them. Now, as I said, make sure to keep a copy of these, save them somewhere before you delete them, just in case and for safety, because I'm sure you've put a lot of work into your Streamlabs OBS scenes if you're using that. The nice thing about Streamlabs OBS, however, is that they also back up your scenes to the cloud. So actually what happens was I went ahead, I'm not going to do this now because obviously I'm running Streamlabs OBS, so I don't want to be mucking around in the background here. But what I did was I went ahead and deleted these, clicked on Streamlabs OBS, it booted up, and then actually from the cloud, it immediately pulled down and recreated these files with all of my stuff exactly where it was before. So all of the stuff you see here, all my scenes, all my everything, I didn't have to rebuild. They were saved in the cloud and they got pulled down and it was amazing. Now, the problem is, like I said, I don't have any browser sources in here. So if you have browser sources in your scenes that are saved to the cloud, you may still run into issues because they're going to download those right away and try and boot it, and it's going to crash. So if you have browser sources in there, you may have to do some rebuilding, unfortunately. So, or if there's a way to do it where you can create, go into Streamlabs, create a brand new profile, and maybe it won't download all of your scene files that have that in there. It seems like even just having one in there will crash the programs, both OBS and Streamlabs OBS, and then will not allow you to launch the program. It sucks, but that's just the way it is right now. It's one of the things we can't work around. What was I about to say? I totally lost my train of thought there. But anyway, so we've got that running. We've got Streamlabs OBS up and running here. You know, I'm able to bring in all of my video sources, my mic sources. All of the connectivity seems to work. It seems like the only real issue is they both want to rebuild the scene things. They want those scene folders empty in order to boot, and then in order to run properly, they don't want that. They don't want any browser sources for the time being until they're officially supported. So we've got Streamlabs OBS running here. You can see that there, and actually simultaneously over on this other screen, I do have OBS itself up and running as well. This one you would have to completely rebuild. But what we're going to try on this one, like I said, is we're going to try importing some of those files that I had saved, my old scene files that I deleted, but I keep a backup of, and I'm going to see if I can re-import them and if OBS stays alive or not. So we're going to take a look at that real quick. Before we get into it, I'm going to take a quick peek at the chat. Let's see here. Let's get back to main camera, see our chat here. I haven't seen a whole lot of chat. I have a feeling a lot of people are trying this out. Oh my goodness, look at this. We got a success right there. Jessica Key says, oh yeah, mine launched. Thank you. I just need to rebuild again. Perfect. Which one were you on? OBS or Streamlabs OBS? That's fantastic. Somebody got help live right there. Oh, I remember what I was going to say. One little quirky thing with Streamlabs OBS is it will launch, but the first time you try and launch it, it launches and then it goes away. But then you just do it again and it comes up. I don't know why, but it has been consistently, even this morning, you know, I did this fix a couple days ago. Even this morning I come in and I hit it, it at first doesn't work, and then you click it again and then it launches. So there's something quirky going on, but it does work. Jesrick Key says, worth my time to stay awake. Awesome, man. Thank you. I'm so glad I helped you out there. That's fantastic news. And if you do, Jesrick, have any additional questions or discover anything else about OBS, please join, if you haven't already, my Discord server. There's a link in the description down below. You can get in touch with me. We can chat about what's working, what's not working, all that kind of stuff. Kevin, the Basic Filmmaker, just joined, just finished his live stream, so he's in here. Boom, we got another one. Streamlabs OBS working like a charm. Perfect. Awesome. So we're having people here who are trying the solution live and are getting it to launch. That's fantastic. Can you tell me, did it do the thing that it was supposed to and pull all of your scenes down from the cloud for Streamlabs OBS? And so it's just, you know, just the way you left it. I'd be interested to know, because that's how mine worked, and it was fantastic. Wow, that really makes me really happy that people are able to try it right now, and that it's working for them. Like I said, not a perfect fix. Not you know, if you're somebody who has to rebuild from scratch, that sucks. But you know, at least you can get online again and be streaming and get content out and all that kind of stuff. It'll take a little bit of work. And like I said, save those scene files. Save them somewhere, because, you know, it could be tomorrow that OBS is like, oh, we fixed it. Here's an update and it works. And then you can re-import those scene files, and everything will be back just as you left it. But we're gonna do that test right here. We're gonna go over to OBS here. Now you guys can hear that I'm clicking to switch my scenes. I usually use let me show you. I usually use my my Stream Deck, Elgato Stream Deck here for switching, but of course we can't expect everything to work in a new OS. So my Stream Deck is not actually working with Streamlabs OBS. I'll have to wait. I don't have a fix for that yet. So we're doing just manual click switching today. And here we go. Yes, it did. He's saying yes. Streamlabs, the cloud brought down all of his scene files, rebuilt it for him, and he's off and running. He or she. I'm sorry, I made an assumption there, but that is fantastic. Awesome. I'm so glad that worked for you. All right. So what were we doing? Oh yeah, we're getting risky and seeing if we can crash OBS here. All right. So we have OBS. It's been a while since I've had just traditional OBS open. But what I want to do, I want to import one of my saved scene collections and see if it works. Jezrig says OBS. I did try to quit the apps multiple times and it won't open. He says it works so well. Awesome. Sorry, I'm reading the chat in there. Like I said, just makes me feel so good inside that people are getting immediate results from this. All right, so let's see here. I know you can't see it because it's off screen. And actually, I'm like looking around my microphone. I'm not used to working on this monitor. Scene collection. I'm going to go to import. Let's see here. OBS can automatically. No, I don't want you to automatically. What? Oh, there we go. All right, so I saved these in Dropbox, useful assets, OBS 2020. Let's see, which one is this? Let's see here. Let's import that and see if it works. Maybe that wasn't the scene collection. Oh, I'm a dude, Abdullah. Awesome, man. And you say you also have the Stream Deck, so you'll be waiting for that too. Yeah. There's nothing we can do. We'll just have to wait for Elgato and Streamlabs to get all caught up and get it working again on Streamlabs OBS. Okay, so that's not how I import my scenes. I have to remember where I saved my scene collections. Oh, wait, maybe YouTube Studio? Oh, it crashed. Did you guys see that? So I imported one of my old saved scene collections. Oh, and here it is on my screen. On the other one, let me bring this up. Boom, I get a bug report. OBS quit unexpectedly. Okay, so we tried that live. Unfortunately, if you are on OBS, you are going to have to start from scratch. At this time, you're not going to be able to bring your saved scene collections back into OBS after doing the file removal fix. That stinks. But like I said, save those files anyway, because eventually, there will be a fix and it will be a fully approved, compatible version of OBS, and then you will probably be able to import those in and be back to just where you were. But unfortunately, right now, if you're on OBS, you're gonna have to rebuild, is what it's looking like for me. I love this. All right, so Jessica says, please excuse me. I'm going to go set it up again. Thank you again. Subscribe. Awesome. Yeah, get in there. I'm sorry you have to rebuild in OBS, but hopefully it won't be too much work for you. And then, like I said, just steer clear of those browser sources when you're adding stuff. So the way I'm showing web browser stuff right now, I'm sharing the display. So I'm doing the display capture as opposed to a browser source, because it seems like those browser sources are what are causing the crashes, or at least it's the biggest culprit right now. There may be some other quirks and bugs along the way, but just make sure you continuously save and back up as you add some stuff in there, just in case you find something else that causes it to wig out. You don't want to have to redo it again. So there we go. That is awesome. So we know how to get them booted. We have live feedback here. We've got a Streamlabs OBS working for somebody, and we've got an OBS working for somebody. That is fantastic. Better than I could have expected. And Abdullah just joined the Discord. Awesome. So yeah, if you guys are catching the replay and you want to, share your thoughts on either this topic or any other topics, really, I got links down below to all of my social media accounts, as well as the Discord. And the Discord is a great place to just chat back and forth 24/7, filmmaking stuff, live streaming stuff, and sometimes just life stuff and just hanging out. So feel free to join in there. It's a good way to hang out and get sort of live interaction without having to wait for the weekly live stream. But anyway, does anybody have any questions about this fix? If you missed the fix, if you're just joining, sorry, I covered it really quick up front because I wanted to make sure that anybody who is watching the replay of this can get the information right up front without me just chit-chatting forever, because I did know that there were a lot of people who were asking me in advance saying that they were having this problem and really desperately needed the solution. So I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of people searching for this information. And like I said, I did not come up with this. I found this on a Reddit thread. The original link is down below. But I did discover how to adapt it to Streamlabs OBS because the thread was about regular OBS. But deleting those scene files will allow the programs to launch, and then it seems like Streamlabs OBS will pull your stuff back down from the cloud, and you should be good to go. OBS itself, unfortunately, it looks like you're going to have to rebuild. Even importing your saved scenes causes it to crash. All right, well, hopefully that gets a lot of you guys up on the air again, connecting with people. I mean, the last thing we need during these pandemic times is to cut off our live streaming capabilities. I mean, that's how we connect with each other these days, you know. So I'm glad we got stuff working there. All right, let's see if I got anything else in here. I tore through everything very quickly so we can just hang out and chat for a little bit. Look at that, 32 minutes, and we tore through it and troubleshooted. That's faster than if you like called most like computer helplines for tech support. And I got 2 people up and running in less time than that. Boom, I'll take it. But yeah, one just note about the stream, you may notice that it looks a little different in here today. I've got a little accent lighting going on. It's a little bit darker in here than it has been in some previous streams. And actually, I've been experimenting with lighting in here. This is sort of a little tangent, but I've been playing a lot with the Namlight Pavo tubes. They're full RGBW tube lights in different lengths, and that's actually what I'm using right now. So I do still have my Elgato key light that I use up here as my key, but I decided to shut my overhead lights in this office off. They're very nice LED lights, but I decided to shut them off and just control the lighting all myself. And I actually have a 2-foot Pavo tube that I mounted to the ceiling up behind me that's throwing down like a rim light. Like you can see the shadow. Actually, let me do it over here. You can see the shadow on my shoulder as I do that. And I'm kind of liking the look of that. The only thing is where I have it mounted, it's only on its own battery power right now. It has an internal battery. So I'm trying to kind of see how long it'll run, because there's a chance it might just shut off on us in the middle of the stream. But that's okay. We're testing it. But they do also make a 6-inch, or sorry, it's a 10-inch tube, but it's called the 6C. But it's a tiny little guy, and I've got it down on the floor, and it's actually plugged in via a USB cable here so that it'll just run infinitely. But I've got it just throwing some blue light back there. I wonder if you guys can actually see it. Just barely. It's right there. Let me move out of the way. There he is. Yeah, see? Just a little tube plugged in, just throwing some color. Yeah, just something I've been playing around with and, trying to spice it up a little bit up here as I am still waiting for my AV guy to free up so that he can come by and finish finish terminating all the connections so that we can start streaming from the studio downstairs. I'm so ready for that. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I've been rebuilding my studio. I will put a link in the description, but I have a playlist for my studio rebuild series. Feel free to go ahead and check that out. But one of the cool things is that I'm going to be using the Mac Pro computer up here and feeding all of my camera and audio sources from downstairs via Ethernet up through the house to here, and it's actually going to be streaming from this machine as opposed to having a machine right next to me down in the basement. So that'll be pretty cool. It's currently still all in theory. All the cables are run and everything, but we just need to finish off the connections and get everything set up and routed. So waiting on that, but you know, busy times and holidays and everything. I can't blame the guy. But yeah, so I think in terms of the OBS and Streamlabs OBS Big Sur issue, I think that's all that I have. I really wanted to just get that information out there because I had to do a little digging myself in order to find it. So hopefully that helps you. I see that it's helped some people here. But if anybody is here hanging out in the chat, please say hello because we're gonna hang out for a little bit here. I'm just seeing how we're doing there. Perfect. Checking up on my stream content. But yeah, I guess now we're just going to hang out and chat. I've never torn through the content so quickly like that. I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh, wow. I had a job to do and I had information to present. I presented it and now here we are. We can just kind of hang out and have a good time. But if you do have any questions, seriously, and you're watching the replay or you're here live, if you're here live, obviously you can get your questions answered right now and we can try some stuff out. But if you're watching the replay, please feel free to leave something down in the comments below if you have a question, or you can go ahead and join that Discord server and I'll be able to, you know, answer you over there, or somebody else may be running into the same issue that you're having. Long Wednesday says, hello, I'm about to update to Big Sur. Will everything break? Haha, I missed the beginning. Okay, I'm going to do you a favor. Normally, I would tell people, be like, oh, you're going to have to watch the replay. But because I have the opportunity to save you from a mistake, right now, don't update yet. What you're going to want to do is save all of your scene collections from whatever you're using, OBS or Streamlabs OBS. Save backups of those files, okay, before you update. And also go through and make sure you don't have any browser sources in your scenes. So when you can add source and you select what kind, if you have any browser sources at this time are having issues and are causing both OBS and Streamlabs OBS to break. They won't even launch, so you won't even have the opportunity to go in and fix it. So what I would suggest right now is go in, see if you have any browser sources. If you do, get rid of them and then save your scene files. Save a version of your scene files, you know, like save one the way you like it with your browser source, and then save another one that's like, you know, underscore no browser or something. Just call it whatever you want, but with those browser sources gone, because then you have a chance maybe of them loading. Although we did have issues with OBS. We launched OBS and tried to re-import a scene collection and it crashed. So I'm not sure if you're on Streamlabs OBS or OBS, but basically save, and eventually this will get a certified, supported fix from Streamlabs OBS and from OBS. I've said those words like a million times during this stream. But yeah, what you're going to want to do is save those. You might have to rebuild if you're on OBS and start from scratch. But the fix at the beginning of this live stream, do go back and watch the replay for the actual fix, because I'm not going to go through it again here. But you can go in and you can at least get it to launch and then rebuild. The good thing about Streamlabs OBS is that it pulls your stuff down from the cloud, so you don't have to rebuild. It rebuilds it for you. But OBS, it's looking right now like you're going to need a rebuild. But like I said, I'll say it again a million times, save copies of your scene collections, even if they don't work right now. As soon as the software developers get all this figured out, there's a good chance that you're going to be able to import those scene collections and everything will be just as you left it. So let me see what you're saying in here. Your display broke last week and I just got my machine back and everything was wiped anyway. Oh man. So okay, well, you get to, oh, and thank you for subscribing. Check that out. That's awesome. So you get to, you get the beauty of rebuilding from scratch anyway. So, ouch, man. I'm sorry about that. But yeah, get something going, back up what you can. But yeah, you will have launch issues if you have existing scene collections and scene files in OBS and Streamlabs OBS. It's just the way it is. But you can fix that. You can get it launched, and you can start rebuilding from scratch. So there we go. Let's see here. Kevin's asking, are you planning on doing live streams every Saturday at this time from now on? You know what? That has always been my plan, Kevin, to do the Saturday 1 p.m. That's what I list on my site. I just, sometimes I have a hard time sticking to it. But when I do them, I do them on Saturdays at 1 p.m. Eastern time. I've had some technical difficulties after, setting up this new studio that caused me to miss a couple. But yes, the idea going forward is that I am trying to get back to that schedule of live streams every Saturday, 1 p.m. Eastern time. So that's what we're trying for. It's difficult these days because now that I am no longer full-time salary employed, that means that I am full-time freelance doing my own thing now. So if a shoot comes up that's on a Saturday afternoon, I'm going to take it. So, it's an interesting development, but yeah. That was a really long answer for a really short question. But yeah, Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern time. Look out for it. But make sure you're subscribed and have that notification bell clicked, and then you'll get that notification if I switch it up on you. And I also do put posts out on Twitter and Facebook as well, usually about an hour in advance and about 15 minutes in advance of any stream. So make sure you're following me on Facebook and Twitter as well. There we go. Kevin did it. He said he was trying to unsubscribe and then subscribe so he could get his name and lights up on there. Well done, man. I like it. And looks like Long Wednesday is they installed Sierra. Okay. I guess what was before this? Catalina. So you're a few back, but everything should work. It sounds like you're just gonna have to rebuild. But when you do run into launch issues, if you do go to Big Sur, please do watch the first. I think we covered it all within the first 20 minutes of this stream. How to get that up and running there. Daniel Scott Design just joined. Good to see you. Yeah, welcome. We've been having a very successful stream. We went over how to get OBS and Streamlabs OBS to launch in the new macOS 11 Big Sur if you were foolishly brave like me and a bunch of other people. And we actually had some success stories on the stream live as people tried it. We had a successful report of a Streamlabs OBS launch and of an OBS launch. So this solution does work. Like I said, it's in about the first 20 minutes of the stream, so you can go ahead and check that out. Pierre saying, thanks for the live. Doesn't fix my specific problem, but will fix my friends. Pierre, I'd be interested. What was the issue that you were running into? Like I said, I'm not a software developer or programmer. This was stuff that I discovered the OBS fix and then was able to, through sort of common sense and logic, figure out the same sort of solution for Streamlabs OBS. But at least it'll solve your friend's problem, so that's awesome. Oh, have a good evening. You as well. At least it was able to help somebody. I'm sorry I wasn't able to fix your specific problem. And I did say that up front too, that there still may be some bugs and some quirks that we run into because these two softwares are not officially compatible with Big Sur at this time. This seems to just be a good workaround fix. We know that browser sources will crash them, so you're going to have to steer clear of those. But if there are any other quirks in there that cause them to have problems, who knows? I'm running Streamlabs OBS here with all of my stuff. Let me get this going. Show you guys. I'm running my normal Streamlabs OBS here with no compromises. I've got all my features. I've got all my cameras. I've got all my sources. Everything is working here. I don't have any browser sources, so that's why it's working and it's running. And it's going. So I'm very pleased with that. I haven't run into any quirks yet. The only issue that I personally am running into right now is that my Elgato Stream Deck right now will not communicate with Streamlabs OBS. So it did before Big Sur, but at the moment it does not. The Stream Deck does work with other software. It still controls stuff like my key light. So watch, I can kill my key light and bring it back on. So I'm doing that with the Stream Deck. So the Stream Deck still works. It's just the communication path to Streamlabs OBS currently is not working. So that's, I don't have a fix for that. We just got to wait on Elgato and Streamlabs to have a little powwow and get everything going there. Oh, Pierre, that's right. You said very slow OBS. I have no browser source, maybe images or text issues. Yeah, that would take some investigating. Yeah, I don't know anything about speed issues with it. That's the first that I've heard of any of speed issues. You know, it could also be something with, you know, what type of Mac you're on, you know, laptop, older, newer, desktop, maybe something that Big Sur is doing in terms of how it controls its hardware is causing issues and isn't allowing OBS access to something. Maybe it's throttling its access to your CPU. I don't know. It could be a million different things. Who knows what Apple did behind the scenes? Because Big Sur was a pretty big update in terms of how the machines actually operate behind the scenes. So. Kevin's saying, not a Mac user, but curious. Is this Slabs only or also OBS problem? It is both, Kevin. It is both Streamlabs OBS and OBS. And actually, I found a fix for OBS. I found the fix that I showed for OBS in a Reddit thread and demonstrated it and tried it today. And then I was able to not come up with, I mean, the files are where they are, but I was able to figure out where those equivalent files were for Streamlabs that you had to remove to get Streamlabs OBS working, because both were not working. There you go. Okay, so and for some people, so Abdullah's saying for me it was just Streamlabs OBS. OBS was working fine after the update. See, mine wasn't. Maybe I had a browser source in there, and that's why it wasn't loading. And that also may be why when I tried to re-import that scene collection into OBS, it wouldn't work. It crashed OBS right in front of our eyes here live when I tried to re-import that. So maybe I do have a browser source that I forgot about that's hidden in one of those scene files. It doesn't even have to be the active scene, guys. It doesn't have to be the one that's pulled up. If you have a browser source anywhere in there, it's gonna crash it and cause it not to load. But I have seen issues, or at least I personally had issues with both loading OBS and Streamlabs OBS after my Big Sur upgrade, and this fixed both. The launch issues. OBS, if I wanted to use OBS, I got to rebuild all my stuff or wait for an update so that I can re-import my scene collections. Streamlabs OBS made it much easier. They pulled my stuff down from the cloud, and it works, because that's what we're on right now. Yeah, could be your scenes. Yeah, exactly. You know, right now, like I said, we know that browser sources cause the crashes, but that's not to say that there might not be some other obscure little line of code in some other sort of scene source that might cause it to crash. So it's uncharted territory. You know, this is software that isn't technically officially compatible, and we're making them run and work together. But today, mine for Streamlabs OBS has been working. So, and again, I will say this again, for my own protection and for your sanity, save and back up your scene files and all that lovely work you've done designing it. Because these do require you to delete stuff, and if you ever want it back, you know, it's a pain. And even if you can't re-import them at this time, when these softwares get updated and are officially compatible, I would bet that there's a strong chance that you will be able to re-import those and everything will work and be exactly as you left it. So even if you can't benefit it from let's try that again. Even if you can't benefit from it right now, back up all your hard work, and just hold on to it until the day when you will be able to. But at least you can get, you can either get rebuilding, maybe it'll give you an idea of how to redesign your stream or do things differently, and most importantly, it'll get you streaming again. It'll get you back online and out there. So yeah, we've had some good questions in here. That's awesome. But yeah, I'll have to I might play around a little bit in OBS and start building some stuff and just seeing if anything crashes it. Because since I'm Streamlabs OBS and I know I've got this up and running and working, I can sort of use OBS as kind of like my playground. And you know, if I do something that I can build a junk scene and just fill it with stuff and see what crashes it, you know, just out of curiosity. But you know, that could be kind of fun. But I'm not going to do that today. It's a beautiful Saturday outside. I'm not going to sit in here and spend my entire Saturday trying to crash OBS. But if you do, I've said this a few times, but if you do run into something that another source or situation that crashes either of these programs, please leave it in the comments down below after the stream is done, or pop into the Discord and share it there and chat and see if we can get it figured out. But anyway, guys, let's see here. I know we're only at about 51 minutes in, but we've had some good chat. So if you guys have anything else that's on your mind, whether it be related to this topic or anything else, please let me know now. Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this thing up here shortly. Huge thanks to everybody who was here live today. Really appreciate it. I'll tell you what I'll do here at the end before we check on the results. We're going to go back to our weekly live poll. If you have joined since the beginning and you missed it, I like to do a live poll every week. I'm going to post that into the chat right now. So you can go ahead and vote on that. I shared this with our live viewers at the very beginning of the stream, but you can go ahead if you haven't yet. And our weekly poll is about operating systems this week. It's what computer operating system do you use? I've got a couple options there and your opinions on it. And then the last one is, you know, there's Linux and all sorts of other stuff out there. So I just called it something cool you probably haven't even heard of. So we haven't checked the results on this, so make sure to go ahead and get your votes in there. And we'll check this in just a minute here. And if you are catching the replay, I leave these live. There's a link down in the description down below. Always cool to check in every once in a while and see how the polls are doing. So let's see what we got here. We got a couple... Let's see here. Trevor says, dude, didn't even get a notice, only notification of the stream. Really? Interesting. I know YouTube has been changing a lot of stuff, so I wouldn't be surprised if notifications either didn't go out or got lost or whatever, but I'm glad you made it here. Yeah, that's crazy. Sorry, man. Yeah, and then Trevor, this is funny. They hid your comment speaking poorly of YouTube. I'll put it up here. You said, YouTube, man. And they asked me if I wanted to allow that. Well, I've allowed it publicly now, so they know that we don't like it when their stuff doesn't work the way they tell us it should. Kevin's saying, I'll always export my scenes and profiles periodically. If I lost them, I would freak the hell out forever. Lots of work there. Yeah, I'm the same way, actually. When we went through and I was importing my scenes, I don't know if you guys noticed, but I actually have like month and year. So like I almost do like a monthly one, you know, because I'll change some things and tweak it, but I might want to go back to a different revision. So I export a new version of my stuff and try and save it, you know, once a month if I can, if I remember. I should remember. And Long Wednesday says, thank you for the help. Awesome. I love that. All right, so let's, what do you guys say we go ahead and take a look at those poll results here? Let me see if we got some voters in here. Yeah, we got a couple in here. All right, let's take a peek at our poll. Wow, look at Well, I guess that makes sense for viewers of this particular stream, considering it was about having issues with Big Sur. I don't think we'd have a lot of, I should have thought of that. I didn't think we'd have a lot of Windows users hanging out in here. They're like, Mac users, their stuff doesn't work. But the good news is that it looks like everyone is happy with their OS choice. They're not pulling their hair out. Even if you did have Big Sur issues, hopefully it has not, turned you against macOS. I have used both in the past. I am obviously macOS and have been for years, but I was a hardcore PC pusher for a long time, all the way up through college, really. I got my first Mac after college when I decided I no longer needed to be mobile and have a laptop. I had PC laptops for forever, and then I wanted to go desktop, and I picked up an iMac, and I was kind of on the Apple train ever since. But yeah, that's cool. So at least in this stream right now, we've got Mac. Oh, look, I can auto refresh the results. That's new. Cool. So yeah, Mac OS and love it. Windows OS and love it. Not a lot of people on those crazy fancy techie ones right there. But like I said, that makes sense for the context of this video that we would have mostly Mac users in the live audience. But if you are watching the replay, please go ahead. There's a link in the description down below. We'll get a better sample. But we're probably still gonna get all Mac users. This was a terrible poll. What was I thinking? Of course, it's gonna be Mac users watching this and clicking on it for the replay. I have failed. I'll do better in the future, guys. I promise. It just clicked to me. I'm like, what? It's like going to like a political rally and asking them who they're voting for. It's like, oh wait, yeah, everybody in this group is for that person. But anyway, that's interesting. Abdullah has an interesting note there. I should put that in there too. It says I still use both, but I'm an Apple guy. Oh yeah, so people who have mixes in their home of PCs and Apple and that kind of stuff. That's funny. Kevin saying I use Windows, others use Mac. Who cares? Like fights over what video editor to use. Yeah, I know. It is a battle that I have never participated in. I don't care what software you use. I don't care what hardware you use. I don't care how much it costs per pound of hardware on one platform or another. I don't care. I use what works for me, and you use what works for you, because when the content comes out the other end, guess what? They're all videos and nobody cares what it was made on. So just make good stuff. And if you got the tools to do that, then I don't care what tools you use. I mean, you sit here, you ask like, oh yeah, Painter makes an amazing painting. What kind of paintbrush did you use? Oh, I don't like that brand of paintbrush. I no longer like this art. No. I was just doing it out of curiosity because I had that like real quick moment of, I do the upgrade. I'm like, all right, I'll do it. I'll check it out. And then of course, like a program that I rely on doesn't launch. And I had that like, oh, Mac OS. And then I was like, you know what? No, that was my bad. I didn't wait. I can't expect them to hit up every developer and be like, are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Does your software work? Like, no. I knew I was taking the fool's leap when I went ahead and did it blindly. And it's all right. Luckily, there was a fix this time to get me back online and streaming. Let's see here. What do we got? Trevor saying, I'm not... Oh, boy, here we go. Oh, boy, I can see what's coming. I'm not saying your Mac Pro is overly expensive, but the M1 chips are looking bananas, man. Yeah, I know. He's talking about... I do run a 2019 Mac Pro, which, was not cheap, but it is a beast of a machine. And, yeah, I've seen the M1 chips, and obviously it's a great new architecture. But I really do like the fact that I have a Mac that is, and I'm going to say this, almost more like a PC, where I can, I got PCIe slots, I can upgrade it in the future. This really, I hope to be like a 10-year machine for me. I'm not joking. And I didn't max it all the way out, but it is beefed up beyond what I need right now, and I hope that it'll stay that way. So I really, I don't lust after other computers and look at the stuff. And when I'm ready for another one, I'm sure the tech will be insane. But until that day, I'm pretty good with where I'm at. Let's see here. I trade futures and the software only works on Windows. That's my excuse. There you go. So you have Windows specific software for work. That's why you have Windows, but you're an Apple guy. Makes sense, I used to have that issue when I was flying drones. The first DJI Phantom 1. The only way to tune them and do stuff and change parameters and update them was literally plugging them into a PC. So I had this little 13-inch MacBook Pro that I installed like Parallels Desktop or something. I didn't use Boot Camp, but so I installed Windows on there so that I literally, the only software I had on there was for configuring the gimbal and the drone to plug in there. But they were very techie programs that only ran on Windows, and so I had to have Windows. I booted up. I only had that software, plug it in, and tune my drone and get onto it. Man, those days are long gone. That's crazy. Kevin, all your computers suck. Buy a Commodore 64. You heard it here first, folks. Kevin, the Basic Filmmaker, that is his official computer hardware recommendation. Kevin, I expect a full review of the video editing performance of your Commodore 64 to be on your channel within a week. I'd like to see that. I'll send you some sample 6K clips from my Zcam, and I'd like you to cut those for me, please. Is that cool? Can we do that? Just giving you a hard time. Trevor's saying, I'm seriously thinking of getting the MacBook Pro with the M1 instead of getting another iMac. Basically use my iMac as a monitor if it can drive it. Yeah, that's interesting. I actually considered using my old iMac as a big display, but it turned out that with all this pandemic stuff that was going on, my wife was working from home and she's never had or really needed a computer because she has her computer at work. So I gave her my old 27-inch iMac, and she goes into work now, but if lockdowns happen again and she has to come back home, she can remotely log into her work computer and do everything from there. So she got that. That was a little bonus gift for her for me getting a beast of a machine. So Trevor says, I used to own of dreaming, I'm losing it, guys. See, that's what happens. We're 2 minutes over the hour mark and I just fall apart. It's all I've got. I've got 60 minutes flat in me and then I lose it. So we're going to wrap this up in a second here. Says, I used to dream of owning a Commodore 64. That computer was a big deal when it came out. There you go. But anyway, on that note, before we get too computer nostalgic, I do hope that this information helps any of you who are having this issue. If you haven't had this issue yet, let this be a red flag warning to you. There is this temporary fix right now to get things running. Back up your stuff, save it, and if you really don't need to, don't upgrade yet. Wait until OBS and or Streamlabs OBS, whichever one you're using, says that, yes, we have a fully officially compatible version of the software out there, and then you'll be good to go. But as always, guys, thank you guys for joining and being here live in the chat. This was a great one today. Thank you for participating in the live poll. Those are always a lot of fun. And if you're catching the replay and you made it all the way this far, you guys are awesome. That's amazing. Yeah, share this information in the fix if you know anybody who's having the same issue. Again, it's probably in about the first 20 minutes or so. I really dove into it right away so that those replay people could get in there and get the information without leaving those thumbs down and giving me all the comments, he talks too much. I'm like, it's a live show. Like, sorry. But anyway, guys, you all take care of yourselves. I will see you next week. Yes, I will see you next week, Saturday, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. There you go, Kevin, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. And it'll be just after the U.S. Thanksgiving and Black Friday, so I'm sure we'll have some crazy stuff to talk about. I don't go nuts about Black Friday, so we won't have a Black Friday show or anything like that. But we'll get something cool to talk about and hang out and whatever. Get in touch with me on social media. Join the Discord. Like, subscribe, notification bell. You guys know the drill. Most of you guys have been here forever. Appreciate you. And I will see you guys next week. Where's my end screen? See, I missed my Stream Deck. They need to get it working. All right, bye.